This video is sponsored by JNC Collectibles website at jnccollectibles.com. Be sure to check them out for all your TCG needs, from sealed products to sleeves to playmats. Link is in the description box below. Thank you, and back to the video.
What's good, YouTube? It's JNC member Jib, and we're here back with another video. Today we're going to be going over the last of the quote-unquote big three decks going into the national season post Infinite Forbidden, and that is Tenpai Dragon. With the inclusion of Infinite Forbidden for the national season, Tenpai Dragon gets 3 new cards that I think are incredibly relevant for the strategy, 2 of which being Archetype and the other one being a hand trap that is very anticipated, and I feel like it's a staple 3 of main deck card in the Tenpai Dragon deck. So depending on how much the card ends up being and the rarity, that can either be a good thing or a bad thing for the otherwise budget deck in Tenpai. So let's go over the new cards. First, we have Tenpai Dragon of Rengoku, which reads: if this card is added to the hand except by drawing it, you can special summon it as a tuner, then you can increase its level by 1. Quick effect: you contribute this card to special summon a Tenpai Dragon from your deck except for a copy of itself. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for dragons. You can only use each effect once per turn. So it's level 3 fire dragon, 0 attack, 1000 defense. It's just another Tenpai Dragon body that tutors any of your Tenpai Dragons from your deck. So it's just a good card. If it's added, so one of the issues before with the field spell was that other than Chandra, which requires you to have another body, the field spell was just adding you normal summons. Now the field spell has the capability of adding something that summons itself from the hand, and then it can become a tuner to begin synchro plays if you already have a normal summon. So you're able to put 3 bodies on the board instead of 2, because a lot of the time before, Tenpai was only able to really consistently put up 2 bodies before going into the battle phase or doing plays in the main phase, which made you susceptible to certain cards like DD Crow on your level 7 Biden Dragon or things of that sort. But now that we're able to put up 3 bodies consistently in the main phase, we're able to play through a lot more, and it makes it a lot easier for us to OTK, which it was already easy to OTK, but it kind of insulates some of the issues that we were having before, where like not having enough bodies to like effectively play through your opponent's cards during the battle phase. And this card being able to quick effect tag itself out to dodge targeted destruction and things of that sort is really, really good, and being able to get us into our starters. And that kind of goes on to the second card that was basically created in order to pair with this card, in my opinion. And thank God it doesn't have Tenpai Dragon in the name, or else it would be ridiculously insane. The card is Doro Drago, level 3 fire dragon, effect monster, 400 attack and 200 defense. And it reads: if this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 level 4 or lower fire dragon from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Doro Drago once per turn. Once per turn, you can excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a fire dragon, send it to the graveyard, and this card gains 1000 attack for every Doro Drago you control currently. Otherwise, place it at the bottom of the deck. This effect doesn't matter. For the most part, it could matter if you hit a fire dragon and it boosts itself by 1000, which is cool. It could be the difference. Maybe they have like an IP on the board and you hit a fire dragon. Now all of a sudden this card is big enough to beat over IP. So I wouldn't say it's completely useless, but it's very situational. The most important part is that on normal summon, this card searches any level 4 or lower fire dragon from your deck to your hand. So it can search for your Chandra, but more importantly, it can search for your Genroku, which will then special summon itself from the hand. This is also relevant for another card that I don't have pulled up here, but Bestial Magnamut. So before, the deck would play 1 copy of Bestial Magnamut because it could search Engine in the end phase, but now during the end phase, you can, off of your Bestial Magnamut, you can search Rengoku, special summon it, tribute it, summon a Hydra from your deck, and then get another card. So now all of a sudden your Bestial Magnamut turns into 2 bodies on the board and a search spell or trap usually during the opponent's end phase, which is insane compared to just searching a body to start off your next turn with. So yeah, these 2 cards, in my opinion, are excellent additions to the Tenpai Dragon deck, and they will 100% make the deck rise a little bit in popularity. We already see that the deck is fairly popular overseas, and it is fairly popular here, usually being the second most represented deck, at least in the Swiss rounds, in most tournaments at the moment, which is the Nationals in South Central in Europe. So yeah, so I think these two cards are excellent. And then the third card that I wanted to talk about was a card that we've talked about before on the channel, being Momochi Pirellia. And this card reads, for those who don't know, if you control no cards, quick effect, you can discard this card and apply these effects for the rest of the turn. Each time your opponent normal summon or special summons a monster from the hand, immediately draw one card. During the end phase, if you control more cards in your hand than your opponent has on the field +6, shuffle random cards from your hand into the deck equal to the difference. You can only use the effect of other Momochi monsters once per turn, the turn you activate this effect. So this is a bootleg maxi is what people are calling it, and you're basically discarding it, you're shotgunning it in the draw phase, and every time your opponent summons something from the hand, you draw a card. So usually you're going to hit a normal summon to draw a card, so it replaces itself, and then if your opponent summons one more thing from the hand, then it's a +1. So against a deck like Snake Eye, they go normal summon Snake Eye Ash, you draw a card, then when they summon the Poplar from the hand, it becomes a +1, and then if they have Witch in their hand, it's a +2, etc., etc. So the reason why this card is so good in this deck in particular is because you're always choosing to go second. So whenever you draw this card, you are going to have no cards on the field. Say for instance, like if a deck like Snake Eye wanted to play this card, it would be an issue, right? Because when you draw this card going first, it's a completely dead card because you want to play the game. This deck is always choosing to go second, so the times when you would draw this card in your opening hand is always live, which is pretty interesting. Which is a pretty interesting dynamic compared to other decks which would side this card for when they're going second, obviously. So we get to main this card, which is a slight advantage for our deck. And in a deck like Tenpai, which is playing upwards of 20 non-engine cards, it's pretty powerful in order to not only have the pressure on your opponent of allowing you to get more cards to play to break their board, either with your hand traps or your board breakers, but having other hand traps in tandem with Momochi makes the card that much scarier, because if you're hand trapping your opponent, you're forcing them to extend, and depending on the deck, they're extending from the hand. Like I said with the Snake Eye situation, if they normal summon the Snake Eye Ash, you draw a card and then Veiler the Snake Eye Ash effect. If they have a Witch in hand, they have to give you another draw in order to try to keep playing. Against a deck like Yugioh, they give you multiple draws. They have their normal summon, they have cards like Sharvara, Nightmare Throne. A lot of people skip a step when they summon Terra Incarnate out the deck with Nightmare Throne, but the way that Nightmare Throne is worded is it adds it to the hand and then special summons it. So Yugioh, if they're playing their turn, they're usually giving you upwards of 3 to 4 draws, because they have the normal summon, they have the Terra Incarnate, they have the Grave Squirmer, they have the Sharvara. They're giving you like 4 draws usually, unless they decide to not play, which is another option that people can do. They can just decide to limit their plays and end on a suboptimal end board in order to deny you draws, but then you're playing a powerful go second deck. So it puts your opponent in a lose-lose situation unless they have Ash Blossom for the Momochi, because they're either giving you draws, which you want in your go second deck in order to get more cards in order to break their board, or they're ending on a sub-poor board, which your engine could just break easily because your engine is so powerful at going second. The last thing that I wanted to talk about in this brief video is the extra deck. I feel like what I have in the extra deck right now is what is mandatory in my opinion, and what I have in the side deck is for the Yubel matchup, which is going to be a popular matchup going into the next format. I do think that the Tenpai Dragon deck has a hard time against the Yubel deck, which is a downside of the deck going into the next format. I think the Snake Eye matchup is very good, but I think the Yubel matchup is not very good because of the way that the Yubel cards work. For those who don't know, the Yubel monsters cannot die by battle, and you also take no battle damage with battles involving them. And as for the OG Yubels, when you attack them, which you're forced to, you take the battle damage. So these cards are just hard to deal with, and if you destroy them by card effects, they float into other copies of Yubel. So a way that people are trying to address that is by playing cards like Meteor Berserker Dragon, Samurai Destroyer, and Time Lord. So these are cards that you can potentially try out in your extra deck. I'm not sure which one is 100% the best option yet, but these are just ways that people are trying in order to deal with the Yubel monsters, which also might make you want to play a copy of Dark Charmer in your extra deck in order to get access to the Zelantis lines. If they dimensional bury you, because before I was only playing Hida because obviously the main matchup was Snake Eye, which this card is always live. But if Yubel's in the mix, then maybe you want to play Hida and Dark in order to revive their dark monsters in order to try to get into Zelantis lines. So that's all I really wanted to talk about today. If you like these type of videos and you want these type of videos to continue, make sure to like and subscribe to the JNC YouTube channel. And with that being said, JNC Jib signing out. Have a great day.